2025 has been a very interesting year for WWE. Excuse me. From its Raw debut on Netflix to the infamous heel turn by Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. There have been so many moments that has happened for WWE in 2025, but none could be as more interesting as this. Because apparently, according to several reports, there are several WWE superstars that could potentially be leaving Monday Night Raw. Obviously, there have been several who have left Monday Night Raw for Friday Night SmackDown this year alone. Excuse me, including guys like Sami Zayn and Damian Priest. And also, several have actually left SmackDown for Monday Night Raw, including Jimmy Uso and LA Knight. But these 10, they could be leaving Monday Night Raw for either SmackDown or NXT. And here is actually the first one that could potentially be leaving. Eric and Ivar, the War Raiders. Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, we all know that they came into 2025 this year as the World Tag Team Champions, defeating the Judgment Day. However, ever since losing the titles to the New Day at WrestleMania earlier this year, both Eric and Ivar have seemed to have gotten lost in the shuffle, so to speak. And apparently there are people who believe that they were never ready for the main roster to begin with, and they should have stayed in NXT. However, considering their past success and their ability to deliver instant classics inside the ring, they actually should be featured more consistently on TV, and if they were to get moved to SmackDown, the amount of talent that's there that's on SmackDown, and as far as the tag team division goes, is absolutely loaded. I mean, you've got DIY, you've got the Wyatt Six, you've got Los Garza, you've got Pretty Deadly, even though both members of Pretty Deadly are currently injured. You've got the Street Profits, and you also have the Motor City Machine Guns as well, who are actually one of the most popular tag teams, not just in WWE, but just in all of professional wrestling in general. I mean, they are literally your favorite tag team's favorite tag team. Literally, that's the moniker. And the amount of bullshit that the War Raiders can pull off on SmackDown would be fucking insane. It would be that fucking nuts. But obviously we don't really know if they're gonna be going to SmackDown, or if they're going to or if they're gonna go over to NXT. No one really knows for sure, but it would be interesting to see them on SmackDown when they do make the move. Next up is actually Sheamus. This is actually a bit of a weird one because Sheamus has done quite a bit for Raw in 2025. Obviously the battles that he's had with Rusev, the battles that he's had with Drew McIntyre over the course of the last couple of years now. I think since War Games 2023. Yeah, ever since then, they've had quite the interesting rivalry to say the very least. But I will say Sheamus going over to SmackDown could be interesting because he's already won the world. He's already won the world heavyweight title back in 2012. He's already become WWE champion. He's already a former US champion, former tag team champion, Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank. The guy has done it all, but should he really leave Monday Night Raw? I don't think so. I honestly think that he should stay on Raw and go after the one championship that he's never held in his entire career, and that is the Intercontinental Championship, currently being held by Dirty Dom, which honestly I would love to see Sheamus as the IC champ. I think he would have excuse me. I honestly do believe that Sheamus as Intercontinental Champion could be very interesting, and he's actually widely regarded as one of WWE's workhorses, and has truly established himself as one of the most reliable performers in WWE right now. And the fact that he has put over so many talent throughout his entire career has truly given him the moniker of one of the all-time greats in WWE. But I think even if he can't chase after the Intercontinental title, if he were to go over to SmackDown, he could potentially go after the United States title, currently being held by Sami Zayn, which would be a very interesting reign. I think his fourth reign, having a fourth reign as the United States champion could be interesting, but I feel like he's better off on Raw, just so he can go after the Intercontinental title and can finally complete his career. But I don't think it's ever going to happen. But next up, we've got Los Americanos, which is El Grande Americano, Bravo, and Rio. Yeah, not even gonna say anything about that except the fact that NXT much. That's all I gotta say. Just NXT. Just put them on NXT, and I think we'll be okay. The only reason why is because I feel like the guy that wears the blue mask, he kind of based on his height and his move style in the ring, he kind of reminds me of Tyler Bate in a way. And we haven't seen much of Pete Dunne in a minute, so who knows? I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I think that guy is definitely Tyler Bate, and the guy in the red. I mean, he could literally be anybody. For all we know, he could be Chad Gable, he could be Kurt Angle, which would be very funny. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But I honestly do believe that Los Americanos they've actually, as crazy as it sounds, in spite of what people believe of what their real, their true identities are, I honestly believe that Los Americanos they've really held their own. They've really held their own on Raw over the last, just this year alone. And I believe that they could do a lot of damage on SmackDown. They could potentially even do a lot of damage on NXT, because I know that right now El Grande Americano, he's the men's speed champion. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they go if they do move. But I feel like if there was one brand that they could move to, it would probably be NXT, because a move to SmackDown probably wouldn't be the best option because of the fact that you've got guys like Ray Phoenix, guys like Los Garza, who take pride in the style of lucha libre in professional wrestling. They take that very seriously, whereas opposed to Los Americanos, people believe that they don't take it seriously, but that's just them talking. But next up is Nikki Bella. The weird thing about this is that I kind of have to agree in a way, because ever since Evolution, Nikki Bella really hasn't done much on Raw. Yes, she did compete in quite a few matches on Raw against women like Asuka and Kairi Sane, and even had an 8-woman, excuse me, even had an 8-woman tag, which featured herself, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and of course the now women's world champion Stephanie Vaquer against, I believe, the Secret Harvest plus Naomi at the time, earlier this year. She had that match, and yeah, she did get an opportunity at the women's Intercontinental title against Becky Lynch at Clash in Paris. But other than that, we haven't seen much of her. We haven't seen much of her. We don't know. We don't really know where she's at, what's been going on with her. And some people believe that WWE signing Nikki Bella to a full-time deal probably was a very bad business practice on their end, which in a way I completely agree, but at the same time, imagine what happens if we saw Nikki Bella go back over to SmackDown. She could finish up her business with the Secret Harvest. She could potentially go after the women's United States title currently being held by Julia. There are so many possibilities when it comes to Nikki Bella, but at this stage in her career, one could argue that this could very may well be one of the final years that we see Nikki Bella in a professional wrestling ring, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up is WWE Hall of Famers. Speaking of Hall of Famers, next up, Rey Mysterio. Honestly, this is a bit of a weird one because the thing is that Rey Mysterio has done everything. He literally did everything that he said he was going to do when he got signed to WWE many years ago. He said that he would become a Cruiserweight champion. Check. He said that he was going to become Tag Team champion. Check. He said he was going to become. He said that he was going to win the Royal Rumble. Check. He said he was going to win the World Heavyweight title. Check. He said he was going to become United States champion. Check. Intercontinental champion. Check. WWE champion. Check. Tag team championship reign with his son Dirty Dom. Check. Have a match against his son at WrestleMania. Check. Not once, but twice, back-to-back years, had a match at WrestleMania against his own son, Dominic Mysterio. Rey Mysterio had done everything that there is to do in WWE. However, unfortunately, he did miss out on WrestleMania earlier this year due to a torn groin that put him on the shelf, forcing him to miss WrestleMania 41. This was when he was supposed to, I believe, have a match against Chad Gable, or was it El Grande Americano? I think it was El Grande Americano. Um, and unfortunately, he could not make it, so he had Ray Phoenix take over in that match, but it wasn't good enough against El Grande Americano. The weird thing about this is that we've seen Ray show up multiple times on AAA's shows, including Worlds Collide back in July, back in June. We saw him show up at Worlds Collide last month. We saw him make an appearance at Triple Mania. So he's made quite a few appearances with AAA. But other than that, we haven't seen much of him in a minute now. And it's weird because if he were to go back to SmackDown, I mean the talent that's there is highly contagious. I mean, you've got guys like Ray Phoenix, guys like Sami Zayn, and if he were to team up with a guy like Ray Phoenix, Rey Mysterio could recruit Ray Phoenix to the LWO, which honestly is not a bad idea. I mean it's definitely something to think about, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of Ray Phoenix, Penta is next on the list, and this whole year has been such a chaotic year for Penta, having a massive match at WrestleMania in that fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship. He had a hell of a showing, and Penta became arguably one of the biggest free agent signings in the history of Monday Night Raw. And he basically established, and the thing is, he established himself as a bona fide megastar all over the world, not just in AAA but in TNA, AEW. From what I had seen on social media, as a disclaimer, I said it before, I'll say it again, just to disclaim it, I do not watch AEW. It's just something from what I had seen on social media. But now he's also become a bona fide megastar in WWE, and apparently he has seemed to be on the cusp of winning his very first championship in WWE. He had an opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship on numerous occasions, but apparently he might be going after the tag team titles at a later time, because if he does go to SmackDown, he could potentially reunite the Lucha Brothers, teaming with his brother Penta, with his brother Ray Phoenix on SmackDown. And because that the WWE Tag Team titles are currently being held by the White Six, one could argue that could be one hell of a main event any night of the week. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, Io Sky. This is another interesting one, because Io Sky has already become one of the all-time greats in WWE. She was the runner-up in the Mae Classic back in 2018. She became NXT Women's Champion during the pandemic. She became NXT Women's Tag Team Champion during the pandemic. She won the women's Dusty Cup in 2022. She got called up to the main roster and had an incredible women's tag team championship run on what, 2-3 separate occasions as part of Damage Control. She's competed in every single women's War Games match ever in WWE, making her the queen of War Games. She's won Money in the Bank. She's won the WWE Women's title, cashing in the briefcase. She's headlined WrestleMania on numerous occasions. She's a former women's world champion, and she's literally done pretty much everything that she set out to do on Raw. But I feel like the only thing that she has yet to do is win a mid-card championship, and I feel like the Women's Intercontinental title could be it. But if she were to go to SmackDown, I can guarantee you she won't be. I don't think she'll be going after the Women's United States title. I think she'll be going after the WWE Women's title, currently being held by Tiffany Stratton. Possible? Absolutely. Bound to happen? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like if Io Sky gets traded over SmackDown, then we have to get Rhea Ripley over to SmackDown as well, because we could potentially see the Terror Twins reunite as well, which would be interesting to say the very least. But next up is the Ring General Gunther. I mean, enough said, right? I mean, the guy's a two-time world champion. Why not go after the WWE title on SmackDown? Enough said, right? Enough said. Currently right now, he is recovering from having nose surgery, which apparently rumors have it that his surgery was a success. But it's still going to be a few months away before we see Gunther back in a WWE ring. But I feel like if he were to challenge Cody for the WWE title and wins the title, I mean, that could potentially put him in the main event of a WrestleMania. Think about that, guys. Think about that. I mean, it's possible, but it could also be possible to see him go after the United States title currently being held by Sami Zayn. Next up is actually one that is of controversy, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this one. Seth freaking Rollins. So with Seth Rollins having been kicked out of the division, it seems as if we found out that Seth Rollins could be needing surgery on his shoulder, and he could be dropping the World Heavyweight title as soon as this coming Monday on Raw, which we will have to wait and see. But with the fact that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman, seemed to have turned on Seth Rollins, it looks like Seth Rollins could, it seems like we could see Seth Rollins back on SmackDown for the first time in well over 4 years. Think about that, guys. It's been well over 4 years since Seth Rollins was on SmackDown, and the Visionary could make SmackDown his new home once again. But the thing is that he made Monday Night Raw Monday Night Raw. It's like that was his thing. And if Seth Rollins goes to SmackDown, the fact that Seth Rollins could challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE title, or challenge Sami Zayn for the United States title, could be interesting. Again, with all these superstars potentially moving to SmackDown, there are so many dream matches we could potentially see. We can even also see Seth Rollins versus Solo Sikoa. We could see Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre again. We could see Rollins and Priest go at it. So many possibilities, but can't speak. If Seth Rollins does get forced to drop the world title on Raw within the next few weeks, I can guarantee you that when he shows up to SmackDown, he's going to potentially he's definitely going to potentially become a major threat not only to Sami Zayn's reign as United States Champion, but also Cody Rhodes' reign as WWE Champion as well, which only time will tell. But again, if he is being forced to drop the title, then I can guarantee you that when he returns, that title is what is priority number one when he returns. But the last person that I feel like that that people believe should make the move from Raw to SmackDown is Kiana James. But the funny thing is that Kiana James is already on SmackDown. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That literally is the list. And it's weird because Kiana James has been working with Julia over the last couple months now, and some people believe that it's working. Others believe that Julia really isn't doing anything with the United States title. In fact, some people believe that Chelsea Green should regain the title because at least Chelsea Green defended the title on a regular basis, and people believe Julia isn't doing that. But I want to get your guys' opinion on this list. Let me know down in the comments below who you believe should make the move from Raw to SmackDown or from Raw to NXT. I'm very curious of what you guys have to say, so let me know down in the comments below. And that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.